We're in session and calls number 323544. Case of style of state of Texas versus Gary Lee Chavis Jr. Mr. Paget. We're in session and calls number 323. Your full name is Gary Lee Chavis Jr.?
Yes.
How you doing, Mr. Chavis?
Fine.
I'm doing fine. Mr. Chavis, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. James Paget. Mr. Paget, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Mr. Paget, this case is on the court's trial docket, and I'm sure you're aware that due to the COVID protocols, we won't be having trials until we get clearance from our
Yes, Your Honor.
health director.
I understand, and we're going to stay on the trial docket right now. I have received a new offer from Miss Maxey, which within the next week or so, I'm going to sit down with my client and I'll relay that offer to him.
Okay,
But at this time, we wish to stay on the trial docket.
okay. Could you give us a reset date?
October 18th.
Case is gonna be reset to October 18th. Mr. Chavis, once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Right side.
Yeah, I got it. Oh, you signed already?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm not rushing the court. I'm not-
We on,
I'm not rushed to go, so.
Okay, we're in session and calls number 326652. Case of style of state of Texas versus Jason Lee Sims Jr. He's the last person on the first page of the trial docket. Your full name is Jason Lee Sims Jr., is that correct? How you doing, Mr. Sims? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Sims, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. James Paget. Bridget, could you check to see if we got bond conditions? And Mr. Paget, you have an announcement I'd like to make in this here case as
Well, it's on the trial
Trial
docket,
docket.
Your Honor, and we would like to leave it on the trial docket.
okay.
And again, I was
Okay.
speaking to Miss Maxey just briefly this morning. We'll get together within the next couple of weeks. I'll contact you.
Okay, just noted that he did not have any bond conditions for this assault family violence case.
So we'll take a look. He's gonna give you a copy.
Get those.
Some of these conditions will not apply.
Two. Mr. Sims, your attorney just handed you a document that is titled Standard Bond Conditions in County Court at Law Number 2. Do you see that title? Now, Mr. Sims, I will go over this document with you, and it reads, following the arrest and or accusation in County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein are ordered subject to the following additional conditions. Number 1, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition? Condition number 2, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol, and a test indicates the presence of drugs or alcohol in the defendant's body. And that's pursuant to the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.44, A2 and C2. Do you understand that condition? And condition number 3, defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense, and the defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition? Okay. And condition number 4, Mr. Sims, does not apply to you because condition number 4 only applies in a DWI case. Do you understand that? It's already reset, okay. Now, Mr. Sims, if you fail to obey the terms and conditions of this bond, your bond may be forfeited. And if your bond is forfeited, you can be arrested and placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand that? Okay, now, Mr. Sims, your case is going to be reset. You're going to stand on the, well, you get your reset from your attorney. And once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. She did. Did Gina Herrera show up?
Yes, Your Honor, she is.
Oh, she is?
Yes.
It's right there, by your right. Gina Nicole Herrera? We're in session in cause number 328. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Gina Nicole Herrera. Is that your full name?
Yes.
How you doing, Ms. Herrera?
I'm good.
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Ms. Herrera, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Bruce Smith. Mr. Smith, how are you doing?
Fine, Joe, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Smith, you have an announcement you'd like to make in Mr. Herrera's
Yes, Your
case?
Honor. She is scheduled in October to sign the paperwork.
Pre-trial diversion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's set him in the second weekend, set her for the second week in October.
Okay, that'll be October 11th.
Okay, case is gonna be reset to October 11th. Ms. Herrera, once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Smith, I think this is your only case?
No, Your Honor, I have a Woodrow Ratcliffe.
Ratcliffe.
Still on the trial document.
On the trial docket? Okay. Yeah, what you call Woodrow Ratcliffe? This is cause number 326-318, State of Texas versus Woodrow Wilson Ratcliffe III. Is that your full name? How you doing, Mr. Ratcliffe? That's good. Mr. Ratcliffe, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Bruce Smith. Mr. Smith, due to our COVID protocols, we're not allowed to have any trials until we get a clearance from the Jefferson County Health Director. What do you want to do? You want to keep it on the trial? Okay. Give us a trial date.
October 18th.
Okay, case is going to be reset to October 18th. Once you get your reset, Mr. Ratcliffe, from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Smith, this will conclude your cases.
That's correct.
Once you get your resets, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day as well. Lena Christopher. We're ready. Mr. Lane, you waive a record in this case?
We do.
Okay. We're in session in cause number 329-674. The case is styled the State of Texas versus Alana Quinn Christopher. Is that your full name?
Alana, but yes.
Alana Quinn Christopher?
Yes.
How you doing, Miss Christopher?
I'm doing wonderful today. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Ms. Christopher, the information in this case alleges that on or about March 31st of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Second, I see here on the plea papers, it's a DWI first. State, are you waiving the enhancement paragraph?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, Ms. Christopher, to the charge of, the state is waiving the enhancement paragraph. And basically what that means is you'll be pleading to a lesser included offense of DWI first, which is a Class B misdemeanor. Now, to this charge of DWI first, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you're guilty?
Yes.
Okay, let me write this on here, DWI first. Okay. Now, okay, now, Miss Christopher, I have before me a document that is titled the Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Now, do you recognize this document? I wrote a statement on here stating that the state is abandoning the enhancement paragraph. And on page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials AC
Yes.
on this document? I think next to your attorney's initials.
Yes, sir.
And on the next page of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendants. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, which is titled the Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature at the
Yes.
bottom above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are two boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I also have before me a document that is titled the Discovery Certification. Ms. Christopher, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Christopher, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit Number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections, Mr. Lane?
No, no objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Lane, you advise and counsel Ms. Christopher. Is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Christopher, your attorney, Mr. Lane, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Christopher, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
180 days jail probated over 18 months. There's a $700 fine plus court cost. 40 hours community service. DWI repeat offender course. Drug and alcohol assessment
Drug.
and the ignition interlock.
Interlock.
Education.
Interlock.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Oh, see, they got DWI education class and the alcohol assessment. Okay, so it's DWI education. Okay. Ms. Christopher, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail because you'll be placed on probation for 18 months. During the 18-month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $700 plus court costs, which comes to a total of fine and court costs of $1,117. And you'll be required to pay probation fees of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You'll be required to pay the Jefferson County DWI education class and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, the total amount of your fees that you will be required to pay each month is $140 a month. Ms. Christopher, will you be able to pay the it's $145 a month. Would you be able to pay the $145 a month?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Christopher, you'll be required to perform 40 hours of community service, attend the DWI education class, and have a drug and alcohol assessment. You will also be required to install the DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, and the state is abandoning the enhancement paragraph, and you will also have to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Ms. Christopher, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Christopher, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Christopher, please stand on the X next to your attorney and follow the directions of the clerk. And once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right here. You should give us a birth certification and regular probation for a felony.
She was. She had a DWI second, so
Where was it?
Brazoria County, according to
My
the
first DWI.
Brazos.
Brazos County. But it wasn't a felony.
Right, but I think the application for probation.
Brazos.
And the directions for probation thing, or, on this option is these are documents.
There's some plenty of agreements with the judges. and all
We need to,
Staff.
Need to turn that camera around some, because we can't see her. I'll say, excuse me. We don't, let me get through. We can't see Miss
I need to be on camera, Judge. For all my fans out there. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Second blocker.
Okay. Let's do this.
Big German head.
Okay, we're in session and cause number 329-246 and cause number 329-866. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Colby Michael Dixon. Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Dixon?
Good.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Kimler, will you be waiving a record?
Oh, yes, sure. For the record.
Okay. Mr. Dixon, in cause number 329-246, the information alleges that on or about February 6th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of disorderly conduct, display or discharge a weapon. Do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Dixon, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dixon, I have before me a document that is titled a Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Dixon. Okay. Are these your initials on the second line next to a box that's checked nolo contingere, which means no contest?
Yes, sir.
And on page 3 of the same document, is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendants?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, which is titled the Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I also have before me a document that is titled the Discovery Certification. Mr. Dixon, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, sir.
And is this your signature on above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Dixon, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kimler,
Yes, sure.
you need to date that.
Oh, I thought you did that, Your Honor.
No. Okay. State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1 and State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit?
Yes, Your Honor.
No objection.
Okay, no objection. State's Exhibits number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Kimler, you advise and counsel Mr. Dixon. Is there any evidence that he's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Dixon, your attorney, Mr. Kimler, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dixon, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I also find that your plea of no contest and waivers was freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
The agreement is for 6 months deferred probation, a $300 fine, 30 hours community service, and that is to run concurrent with cause number 329866.
Mr. Dixon, the state is offering that you serve 6 months deferred adjudicated probation. During the 6 months deferred adjudicated probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $300 plus court costs of $327, which comes to a total of fine and court costs of $627. In this case, you will not be required to pay a probation fee. However, you will be required to pay your analysis fee of $15 each month. Now, the total monthly installments that you'll be required to pay in this case is $140 a month. Will you be able to pay the $140 each month?
Yes, sir.
You'll also be required to perform 30 hours of community service. This case will run concurrent with cause number 329688, and you would also have to adhere to the standard terms of this probation. Mr. Dixon, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Dixon, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Dixon, if you successfully complete the probationary period, your deferred probationary period, the case will be dismissed. It will not appear on your record as a conviction, and you may qualify for non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure. Now, Mr. Dixon, we will proceed to your next case. Your next case is cause number 329866. And in this case, Mr. Dixon, the information alleges that on or about April 15 of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class B misdemeanor offense of disorderly conduct, display or discharge a weapon. You understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight and contest the charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Dixon, I have before me a misdemeanor plea admonishment, which is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Dixon, there are a set of initials on the line next to the box check NOLA contender, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
And on the third page of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant. Did you sign this document?
Yes, sir.
And the next document that I have is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Mr. Dixon, do you recognize this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are two boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case. You have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? And I also have before me a document that is titled the Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Dixon, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney, Mr. Kimler, go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor, and also like to offer states to the probable cause affidavit.
Any objection? Okay, no objection. State's Exhibits Number 1 and 2 are admitted. Gotta date that. Mr. Kimberly, you have advised and counseled Mr. Dixon. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Dixon, your attorney, Mr. Kimberly, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Dixon, I'll accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I'll also find that your plea and waivers was freely and voluntarily given. I also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargaining agreement in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
The agreement is for 6 months deferred probation, a $300 fine, 30 hours community service, and that's to run concurrent with cause number 329246.
Okay, Mr. Dixon, the state is offering that you serve 6 months on deferred adjudicated probation. During the 6 months probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $300 plus court costs of $292, which comes to a total of $592. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month and a urinalysis fee of $15 each month.
Your Honor, if I might, why would he be paying 2 urinalysis fees if he's only getting?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, that's, they charge a urinalysis fee in each case.
But he's only being
The
urinalysis.
urinalysis fee,
Urinalyzed,
it's in each case.
but it's only one test.
Well,
I think probation handles all that, but they
Yeah.
may
Can you
not.
bring it up, if he could bring it up with his probation officer.
Yeah.
Right.
That's $15 a month, that's $240 over 6 months. Maybe I'm math wrong. 30, 90, 90, that's right. 90. That's why I'm a lawyer. $90.
isn't it one, yeah, 180 divided by 2 is 90.
90.
Yeah. Okay, so let me repeat this. Now, Mr. Dixon, the state is offering that you serve 6 months deferred adjudicated probation. During the 6-month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $300 plus court costs of $292, which comes to a total fine and court costs of $592. You also be required to pay a probation fee in this case of $60 each month and a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You also, now the total monthly installments that you would have to pay in this case is $195 a month. Mr. Dixon, will you be able to pay the $195 each month?
Yes, Your Honor.
You will be required to perform 30 hours of community service. This case will run concurrent with cause number 329246, and you will also have to adhere to the standard terms and conditions of this probation. Now, Mr. Dixon, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
You think the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Dixon, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Mr. Dixon, like your previous case, if you successfully complete your deferred probationary period, in this case will be dismissed. You may, and it will not appear on your record as a conviction, and you may qualify for non-disclosure. You could talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure. Stand on the X next to your attorney and follow the directions of the clerk. Once you finish following those directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Your Honor, will the court be recalling the warrant?
Well-
that was out on Mr. Dixon?
Yeah, the warrant to go away because it's been disposed of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One thing we've reported to sheriff's department.
Yeah. he needs to keep his judgment with him now,
No, I
in
would,
case he gets stopped.
yeah, I would keep my paperwork. If I were you, the judgment that she gives you, I would keep it with
Yeah,
her.
50 credit for it.
Hey, Mike,
Right.
Can't get it right now. because it's still open.
Right.
For the pending of the attorney or the flood.
I mean, but he's on deferred, so the case hadn't been completely disposed of. It's still.
What do you-
So there's no application 6 months.
Talking about getting his bond?
No, the gun.
Oh, the gun, oh. Really quiet. Hey, right,
You got two of them.
but,
Right.
Huh?
You got two, you gotta sign the other one.
Be probations.
go ahead.
Are we talking about the FN?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, raise your right. hand.
Hey, Mr. Dixon, you finished following the
Right,
directions.
raise your right hand. Do you swear that you've never before been given deferred adjudication or regular probation for a felony or misdemeanor in the city and the state that sets forth as a charge and be taken care of today? And you further swear nothing else is pending.
I don't know what time they want
So
it.
these are all of your papers, and this is the direction of supervision. You need to go over there this morning. Like they said, keep these with you.
Keep that with you today. All right.
Okay, Mr. Burbank?
I only have one.
Yeah, Mr. Mason, you didn't, he's in jail.
Who?
Davion Mason, that's the one you have?
He's got a murder charge.
I see that. Anytime, he's in jail, we just resetting it with the felony case. Okay. Well, thanks for
I
visiting
have
with us.
done that before and I have gotten caught
You got caught?
by this court.
No,
I
no,
should have been here.
no, it's in
I
jail.
have a Mr. Raw.
You have another guy? Oh, I saw a roll. Yes, Joshua Rowe. Would you please call Joshua Rowe?
We're asking for some more time on that.
Was it a refile?
Well, he got pretrial diversion and he violated.
Who's the prosecutor on this? Is it, Daniel?
He's being hard, he's being difficult. He's gonna start getting gray hair on it.
Already got it.
I just need some more time.
Back.
Oh,
Hey, Burbank. Mason, his felony was September 29th. That felony. Huh?
You're charged with murder,
No, well, I would say no, but what I say don't matter. So, hey.
Oh, that was a hard one. Oh, I see.
got lost.
yeah,
No, so,
Joshua, he was here earlier. Joshua Levi Rowe. Oh, there he is. This is cause number 329-122, case of style of state of Texas versus Joshua Levi Rowe. Mr. Rowe, how are you doing? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Rowe, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Tom Burbank. Mr. Burbank, you have an announcement you'd like to make in Mr. Rowe's case?
Your Honor, we'd ask for a reset so I can try to work this out.
Or you want to keep it on the announcement docket
Yes,
and you just need more time to negotiate?
yes.
October 13th.
Okay, the case is reset to October 13 of 2021. Mr. Burbank, you can get your reset. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go. Mr. Rowe, once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go as well. And you have a blessed day. And you have a blessed day, Mr.
Maybe
Burbank.
excused to that.
Yes, he may be excused. What is the bit? Okay. Hold on. I think you have a guy that's in jail. Yeah, Thibodeau, yeah. Well, yeah, he was in jail.
Okay, yep.
So, we reset it. You want this case to be reset with the,
Yeah, with the felony.
with the felony.
I talked to Mr. Nathan, Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
the attorney. I think they reset it for 30 days.
Huh?
They reset it for 30 days.
Okay, could you get your reset from the Brad Thibodeau, page 1, number 4, or number 5 on the announcement docket? I think he must be talking on, James, this story. Once you get, Melo, is Jorge Melo Landeros? He's on page 2, the second person of the announcement docket. Just have him have a seat. You get to have a seat. Won't you, let's see, we got Crump. On page 1, announcement docket, you're gonna get Randall Crump. He's second and third on the announcement docket. Page 1, Randall Crump. And then on page 3 of this announcement docket, see if Juan Tinaco is here. Randall Crump. Would you come on, stand on the X? We're in session in cause numbers 324-260 and cause number 324-262. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Randall Shane Crump. Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Crump, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
That's good. Mr. Crump, you are represented by your attorney, Mr. William Wilkerson, who is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Wilkerson, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Judge. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Wilkerson, Mr. Crump's case is on the announcement docket. You have an announcement you'd like to make?
Your Honor, the state attempted to provide me discovery on the matter, however, was getting an error message. We do have an offer that I need to discuss with Mr. Crump and review his discovery. If we could reset this case until September 8th, if that meets with the court's availability, it keeps me from running into a problem with any special settings that I have coming up, and I believe we'll be able to dispose of it then.
Okay, what is September 8th?
That's a Wednesday, that's a good day.
Yeah, that's a good day. Okay, your case is gonna be reset to September 8th. Mr. Crump, stand on the X on the far end, get you the reset from our coordinator. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And Your Honor, if Mr. Crump could schedule an appointment with my office, that would be great.
Okay, he hear that. Okay,
All right. I sure will.
okay. Did, okay, your other client, Juan Jose Tinaco, has not appeared. Ms. Wil-
Judge, I will have my office reach out to him. I don't know what may be preventing him from appearing. We have an offer on that case and had previously completed discovery certification on the matter. Let me reach out to him. I know what may be part of the problem, Judge. we have a case, I believe, also a felony in that matter.
Is it in this county? 'Cause I don't see it on
Yes,
the-
it's drug court, and I believe, if I'm not,
Oh, wait, no, he's here, Mr. Wilkerson, he's here.
okay.
Okay, let's come on up. We're in session in cause number 329-102. The case is styled as State of Texas versus Juan Jose Tinoco. Is that your full name?
Yes.
Mr. Tinoco, how are you doing? You doing good? All right. Mr. Tinoco, you're represented by your attorney, Mr. William Wilkerson. He's appearing on Zoom. Mr. Wilkerson, you have an announcement you'd like to make in Mr. Tinoco's case?
Your Honor, as I was informing the court, we had previously disposed of another matter for Mr. Tinoco and received an offer on his misdemeanor case. If I could also reset this matter to September 8th, I believe this case will be disposed of by plea at that time, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Is that Tinoco? Okay, Mr. Tinoco, your case is going to be reset till September 8th of 2021. You're going to get your reset from our court coordinator over there on the end. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Yeah, it's over here. Stand on the X. And Mr. Wilkerson, your recess will be sent to you. This will conclude your cases. You're free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Your Honor. You as well.
All right, thank you. What you get, Armando Guerrero, or Guerra, Armando Guerra? Yeah. Trying to sneeze. We're in session in two cases. First case is cause number 329-298. Second case is cause number 329-302. Both cases are styled the State of Texas versus Armando Guerra III. Mr. Guerra, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Guerra?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Guerra, last time I was here, your case was reset to give you time to hire an attorney. Have you hired your attorney?
No, sir. Unfortunately, I haven't. I lost my job about a month ago. And I've been kind of struggling to
Okay, now,
get one. So no, sir, I was not able to.
okay, now, Mr. Guerra, as a defendant in a criminal case, you have three options. Number one, you may hire an attorney. Number two, if you do not have enough money to hire an attorney, you may request an attorney be appointed to represent you. And number three, you may represent yourself. If you want an attorney to represent you and have enough money to hire an attorney, the case will be reset to give you time to do so. If you want an attorney and do not have the money to hire one, you will need to fill out a financial questionnaire so that the proper person can determine whether or not to appoint an attorney to represent you. You may not speak to the prosecutor, which is the assistant district attorney, about your case unless you sign a written waiver of your right to be represented by an attorney. Be aware that there are dangers to self-representation. Waiving your right to an attorney and representing yourself may result in a worse outcome for you and your case, including the loss of significant legal rights and opportunities relating to military service, possession of a firearm, housing and public benefits, child custody, immigration status for non-citizens, and employment. If you choose to proceed without an attorney, you may change your mind at any time and may request counsel from the court. Now, at the bottom, now, Mr. Guerra, you can choose to hire an attorney, and if you do so, your case will be reset. And, or if you want to apply for a court-appointed attorney, you would have to fill out a financial questionnaire. Or if you want to waive your right and represent yourself, you would have to sign a waiver. Now, what is your desire?
I'd like to get a plan.
Okay. Mr. Guerra, just have a seat in the gallery, and we'll bring you an questionnaire to fill out.
In Mr. Guerra's case, cause number 329302.
Which one?
329302.
Yes.
Reckless driving. The state is going to be doing a dismissal on that.
Oh, okay. So,
Additionally, I sent one other dismissal.
okay. So that one is being dismissed.
I'm filling it out right now.
I'm gonna have to get him to, what was the other dismissal you said? You said you sent him.
For Herbert Davis.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's the gentleman that died.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Was he on the docket today?
No, sir, I
Oh,
haven't had it.
oh.
Michael Lindsay called me the other day, or yesterday.
Okay. Okay. Linda, check Herbert Davis, see if ever represented. Yeah, he's the last, he's the one added on the docket. It's 329858.
On the city appeal.
You said I did.
You did on the city appeal about 7.
Okay, well, I can't, you wouldn't have to transfer that. Okay.
Long time.
That, let me get out of here.
Let me get a transfer.
Okay. Okay.
So Jackson's in custody? They're probably, honestly, probably, I'm gonna bet you that the her gap, same language.
Looks like it's a family.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Judge West as well, Charlie as well. Yeah, Charlie, you're still.
Mr. Vasquez? Joe Vasquez?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Vasquez, you have two cases on the trial docket. You have Miss Brianna Lede, which is cause number 326372. And that's Miss Lede. She's on the monitor as LG Stylo 6. Miss Lede, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how you doing, Miss Lede?
I'm doing fine.
That's good. Mr. Vasquez, how are you doing?
Good, Your Honor. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Now, Mr. Vasquez, what's your announcement on Miss Lede's?
Your Honor, we
You broke up on me. I think you're kind of breaking up. Could you repeat that?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'll call in if I have to. We would ask that Miss Lede's case remain on the trial docket.
Okay. Give us the date, trial. Okay, the case is gonna be reset for trial on October the 18th, 2021. Ms. Lede, your attorney will get your reset. Your case is being reset to October 18th, 2021. Stay in contact with the attorney and your bonds when you're free to go. Thanks for being patient with us, and you have a blessed day.
You too.
All right. And Mr. Vasquez, your other client, Jose Jimenez, has not appeared.
Your Honor, I just heard from Mr. Jimenez. He was stuck. He missed my messages earlier. He's going to Zoom in if the court will give him a little more time.
Okay. Okay.
Or he'll call in or Zoom in, one or the other.
Okay, just keep us updated.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. We're in session in cause number 327430. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Michael Carey McLeod. Mr. Reynolds, will you be waiving a record?
We'll waive the record, Judge.
Okay. Mr. McLeod, your full name, Michael Carey McLeod?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. McLeod?
I'm great, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Mr. McLeod. Would you please raise your right hand? Mr. McLeod, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may put your hand down. Mr. McLeod, the information in this case alleges that on or about April 21st of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 2A. Do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, I do.
And to this charge, Mr. McLeod, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
I plead guilty.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you pleading guilty because you're guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. McLeod, I have before me a document that is titled a misdemeanor plea admonishment. It's also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. McLeod, there's a set of initials MM on the line next to a box that's checked guilty. Would you place your initials on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature at the top above the line that's titled Defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
The next document that I have is titled the Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Mr. McLeod, do you recognize this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
It is.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
I do.
The second box states that you are waiving, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that? I have another document here. This document is titled the Discovery Certification. Mr. McLeod, do you recognize this document?
I do recognize it.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled